Cześć! Zapraszam Was bardzo serdecznie na sesję Q&A z Andreasem Antonopoulosem z maja tego roku z Polskiego Kongresu Bitcoin. Właśnie się montuje. Zapraszam.
Okay, Andrzej, so actually, Andrzej, very good. Another Andrzej, yes. So two Andrzej?
Yeah, two Andrzej. That's fine, that's fine.
We do have some time for questions, so I hope we have a microphone that will go to.
Yeah, we have a microphone.
Oh, very good.
How do you think the old-fashioned financial system will adapt to the changes caused by the development of cryptocurrencies?
Poorly. I think the traditional financial system will adapt the same way the traditional telecommunication system has adapted, the same way the horse and carriage industry adapted to the automobile. How many people in the industry own a horse? No?
Not yet.
Not yet. Maybe it's a hobby, but you certainly won't use it to go to work every day, right? So I think the idea of having a fixed relationship with a centralized institution that holds your money for you is going to be one of those obscure, weird, elitist things that weird old rich people do. So they'll have a personal relationship with their banker, which is ironic because they're the only people who have a personal relationship with their banker to start with. But in the end, they'll be the only people left who have that personal relationship, because all of the rest of us are going to be debanked. So I don't think the financial industry is going to adapt very well. And it's not because bad people work for banks. That's not the case. Great people work for banks. And the greatest of those great people who work for banks are going to quit working for banks and do a startup in the cryptocurrency space. Because they spend the first couple of years trying to persuade everyone around them that, hey, I've seen the future. It's not this. This system you've put together from 70s technology with COBOL to a mainframe that tries to do things and is slow and efficient and insecure, this is the past. I've seen the future. And they'll try and try and try and try to persuade. But the problem with large centralized institutions like traditional financial services is they have inertia. They're organizationally sclerotic. As a result, they can't change. Even if a lot of the people inside them want to change, even if they know that not changing is the end, they're simply going to try and delay the inevitable because they're unable to change. This is the nature of large organizations. And so as the creative and interesting people inside these corporations try to persuade that they've seen the future, eventually they get tired. And they say, you know what? I'm going to leave and start a startup. I'm going to actually pursue the dream because I really understand that this is the future. Since nobody here understands me, I'll just take it elsewhere. But the best part about it is they're going to do that in January. And they're going to fund their startup with the bonus they got in December. So they can turn around and compete with the very company that gave them the bonus in the first place. And we will welcome you.
I'm a YouTuber. I've tokenized myself a year ago. And yeah, I have a few hundred holders. I'm traded on two exchanges. I have some significant market cap. But I'm tokenizing more people. And I see that tokenizing people might be a new way of creating a new economy and generating a flow of capital inside the crypto space.
Yes.
What do you think about that? Do you perceive any blockade, or maybe this idea is stupid in the first place? What do you think about that?
I think it's interesting. The first time somebody asked me if I could publish an 2013. And in fact, one of the first people who created an artist coin is a friend of mine, and I was involved in that project. I've predicted that people will have tokens, and that tokens are, among other things, a means of expression. It's a way to express loyalty and to be a fan, to be a supporter. And it's also a way to offer patronage for creative people, so that you can support artists and creative people so they can be as expressive as they want, and they don't have to look for corporate sponsors. They can be directly responsive to their audience. Another reason why I think tokenization is important is because when you work through a platform like YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, you don't own the relationship with your audience. YouTube owns it. Twitter owns it. Right now, I can't do, for example, I can't do advertising on Facebook for my book, because my book has a dirty word in it, right? And the dirty word isn't Lockheed Martin. The dirty word is Bitcoin. And so I can't advertise Mastering Bitcoin, my own book, a scientific college level textbook, on Facebook, because they will ban my account. Not only will they ban my account, they will disconnect me from my audience. And the same thing applies on all of the other platforms. I keep a very good backup of all of my videos because I don't trust YouTube. Tomorrow they can shut down my account. And how do I connect with my audience? I think tokenization is important. There's one difficulty with it today. And the difficulty is that there are very few people who own cryptocurrencies. We're still in the very early stages, which means that you have a small audience that you can reach. My work is focused 95% at least on people who are brand new to cryptocurrencies, people who have never used them before. My audience is all newbies. That's my particular focus. And so 95% of my audience don't own any cryptocurrencies yet. They're getting some now, maybe. They're getting involved. They're in the beginning. They're trying to learn, trying to make that first tentative step, which means they can't support me if I tokenize myself. So I use commercial platforms. So I use Patreon, for example. And Patreon allows them to use a credit card to support me, which is easier for most people who are not yet into cryptocurrencies. And that makes me feel a bit uncomfortable, because Visa is taking part of that, and because Patreon is a centralized service. But what is the alternative? At least for me, the alternative is corporate sponsorship. So the freedom I get by getting directly funded by my biggest supporters and by my audience is tremendous. It's fantastic. I'm here today because of Patreon. It allows me to do smaller conferences like this without a lot of commercial sponsors, so that I can do that. So I think it's a great idea. I think we're going to see more and more and more of that as the years go by. In fact, I think that's one of the greatest opportunities for cryptocurrencies. You see, the whole peer-to-peer thing is about changing the connection between people. Any one of you in this room today, if you want to give money to another person in this room, you have two choices. You either give them cash, which is peer-to-peer, or you have to pay them through some kind of digital currency, other system, except for cryptocurrency, that is. Let's say you use a credit card, or you use a bank account transfer. And that's not person to person. That's person to corporation to corporation to corporation to person. Who invited them? Who invited those three corporations into my human interaction, my commerce with one other person? And so the great thing about being an artist and using tokens and cryptocurrencies is that you disinvite the 5 corporations that want to join the party and their 2% commission they take for doing nothing, right? And you connect directly with your audience. I think that's fantastic. I think that's the future.
Hello.
Hello.
I want to ask, how did your attitude to Bitcoin evolve? I mean, you are a huge proponent of Bitcoin for so many years. And is it the same, do you have still the same hope like on the beginning? How did it evolve?
Yeah, you know, I'm still just as enthusiastic and excited about this technology. My vision is broader now. You know, it's not just Bitcoin anymore. There's many exciting projects. And I look at this entire space as growing and expanding. And it's not only expanding in depth with technology, innovation, and improvements. You know, Bitcoin isn't what it was 5 years. It's getting better. It's getting more technologically advanced. The rate of innovation is accelerating, the number of people who are developing. And then just as Bitcoin is getting better, the whole space is getting broader. New projects, exciting projects, doing their own different style of innovation, but still open, borderless, decentralized systems that allow lots of people to participate and have a little dose of weirdness are sprouting up all over the place. And some of them are more focused on privacy, others are more focused on other technologies, and they're all innovating independently. So now I look more broadly at the space. And I'm very excited with the level of technological innovation that's happening. And I'm even more optimistic than I was before. The first 2, maybe 3 years, I had the hope that this could work. But at the same time, I had a bit of doubt in the back of my head. You know, every day I'm like, oh, I hope it works out. I don't know, things are looking weird today. I don't know if it's gonna work. Oh shit, Empty Docs went bankrupt. Oh no, they're banning it here and they're banning it there. And I was worried. But what I've seen over time is that with each challenge, the system, the technology, the community, the environment, the companies in the space, the people working, they work harder. They get creative. They find ways around the obstacles. They improve the things that are broken and make new things that are better. And it just keeps getting stronger. And every time I think, oh, things are very difficult right now, back in 2012, 2013, 2014 was very depressing. And I was worried. And then I keep seeing it getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I really can't see how it is possible to stop this now. I've gotten to the point where I don't believe it is possible to stop this. It's gotten too big, it's gotten too advanced, it's gotten too many people involved. It's funny, sometimes people tell me, well, the price will go to zero. Like, no, it won't. It won't go to zero. I'll tell you why. Because if the price went to 1/1000th of a dollar, I'd buy all 21 million Bitcoin in existence myself. I mean, for that price. So I can tell you the price isn't zero, if you just want to talk about price, but for me, the price is 0.001. It's not going below that, because at that point I'm buying all of them. Now, if I know I'm thinking that way, I know at least a few other people who will do the same. And so, when you understand that regardless of the price, regardless of the economic activity, regardless of the market fit, there is a real technology here. And it's an evolving technology that's actually getting better over time. And the fundamentals are getting more and more robust. And then you look outside of that, and you look at government debt, and you look at traditional currencies, and you look at mismanagement, and you look at coercive and oppressive governments around the world. And you realize if we keep doing this just a tiny bit better, or just keep it the same, and they keep fucking up, every time they do that, there's a new market to address, right? We weren't talking about Venezuela in 2013. We are now. We're talking about Argentina again. Welcome to the club. Greece, Cyprus, Italy, southern Spain, Portugal, half of South America, almost all of Asia. We are very close to saying, welcome to the club, because this technology continues to get stronger. Traditional centralized systems keep getting more and more fragile. In fact, I liked recently, I've always advised people, don't invest your life savings in this currency. You should have a smart approach that involves diversifying and taking small risks, but not crazy risks. Don't go all in. I was contradicted recently by someone who said, don't invest more than you're willing to lose in US dollars. And I thought that was an interesting perspective, because you don't really think that if you hold your money in zloty, that's a foolish investment. Maybe you should. And I'm not saying take it all out of zloty and put it into Bitcoin, but diversification works both ways. If all of your money is in one national currency, that's not prudent. It's irresponsible. It's irresponsible to your family. It's irresponsible to your future. It's like, ooh, I don't know if I want to take that much